Sometime within the next minute or so, somewhere on the planet, another big idea is being born. It might be a new song, a new product, who knows? And who knows how to make this idea grow and introduce it to the world? Let's find out. Welcome to The Next Big Idea with your host, Peter Gantner. The program is sponsored by kulaBrands, dedicated to help with branding, funding, and marketing the next big idea. And if that idea is yours, you want to pay particular attention to the particulars. Peter and his co-hosts and guests will explain just how it's done. If you happen to be an investor or just an interested party, you could benefit from the efforts of kulaBrands. You could become a part of their community of folks who want to help others and make money in the process. If that sparks your curiosity or wets your whistle, sit up and take notice. kulaBrands presents Peter Gantner and his guests on The Next Big Idea.
Hey guys, it's Peter Gantner here with The Next Big Idea. And of course, I have my universal famous co-host, Cory Moran.
Always a pleasure. Watch out. It's always a pleasure to get announced first. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing out there?
We have with us the just fantastic Deborah Caswell.
Just fantastic. You know what? Yeah, that's fitting. Hey, I'm excited about this lineup we have today, Peter. How's everybody doing today?
We are doing terrific. Guys, today is one of our favorite days of the week, which is when we're not necessarily talking to entrepreneurs today. We do have one with us, but he's an entrepreneur / supporter. So today's show is going to be three amazing people that are supporting entrepreneurs, of course, through our kulaBrands business model. We ask that you if you're listening to this, become a supporter of an entrepreneur, even if it's not through our model, through some form or fashion.
Hey, Peter, right now might be a good time to mention to our listeners that you can go find us on Facebook, just under kulaBrands. Who's this fantastic group we've got lined up today?
Today we have with us the just phenomenal Donavon Lee Carpenter. Guys, if you love country music, you've got to listen to Donavon. You got to YouTube, you can go on Spotify. I mean, absolutely fantastic on that. We're actually going to have Donavon on a show here very soon. We have Mr. Michael Love. I mean, it's in his name, right? Love, right? So you're going to hear from Michael Love. And then we have Mr. Stephen Kanelos with us. So how's everybody doing, guys?
Doing great, Peter.
Awesome.
Grateful to be here. Thank you, Peter.
Well, and we're hoping on your end, buddy, we can rope in Crystal a little bit on this too, because she is a phenomenal supporter of entrepreneurs as well. And Steve, why don't you start out and we'll go back through everybody. Give us a little history on yourself. Just tell us that. How long have you been a serial entrepreneur supporter? And run through that. And then let's go back to Donavon and then to Michael on how long you guys have been involved with kulaBrands, how, your history of supporting entrepreneurs.
Well, I've been a member of the kulaBrands community since May of 2016. And when I first joined the community, I had no idea what I was becoming a part of. It was so much bigger than what I thought. I had total faith in the business model and in the principles of the company, you being one of them, Peter. But what I didn't realize was the family that I was joining and the adventure I was about to embark on.
Awesome. Donavon and Crystal.
Hey, how you doing, Peter? Yeah, we were we heard of kulaBrands, I guess 3 years ago, April 2017, I guess, 17. Yeah, it was a unique experience for us not being a part of entrepreneurial world. But the first Kula party, we heard about it, jumped in, and we've been in ever since.
We're going to have to tell the story of how Crystal ended up coming to Kula Party here a little bit later on in this segment. Because Donavon, it's our annual business meeting, but we call it a Kula Party. We're going to let Crystal tell the rest of that story. Mr. Michael Love, can you give us a little bit about your background in kulaBrands?
Oh, my Lord. In 2016, back in April, I believe I heard about kulaBrands. And you guys, I was in another business and had spent, I was on Social Security or social insecurity. And I spent my last, $600 to get into this other business. And then I heard about kulaBrands and I'm going, oh my God, this opportunity jumped up, but I had no more money to get in. And you guys were giving away memberships to veterans. And I go, well, I contacted Cory through a group, and how do I get in this? Somebody put my name in, and you were only giving away 10 memberships, and you ended up saying, what the heck, there were 32 people that applied. We're going to give away 32 memberships.
Well, and Michael, and we appreciate your service and thank you for, for that. And it's been a pleasure. I got to tell you, not all 32 people became the kind of phenomenal member that you have in supporting entrepreneurs. I mean, you are there, you're helping, and we're going to talk a lot about that throughout the show. So I want to jump into the first question here, guys, and you can just, jump in here. This is to all three of you guys. Can you tell me the value in your life that supporting entrepreneurs, not the financial side of it, but the value that being somebody who is supporting entrepreneurs on their journey with them, can you give us a little bit of that value proposition to your life by being a supporter of entrepreneurs?
Well, oh my God, the value, when I came to KP1, I got a one-way ticket there. Something told me I needed to be there. And the people I met, and I've been in other businesses and I went to events and I always felt like I was being left out. And that's not the way I felt at KP1 or KP2 or KP3. I have met people that I believe I will forever have lifelong relationships. I'm a better human being by belonging to kulaBrands. I give more now than I've ever given before. And it just keeps coming back to me and trifold.
Well, and buddy, we're going to touch on a story that happened to you this past year where the community actually was able to help you out. We are going to touch on that a little bit later in the show. Steve, can you jump in real quick? I saw that you had something to say there about, how being a supporter of entrepreneurs has helped you, the value that's created in your life.
Yeah, I have to go back to our first inventor, Len Kenzie. And when I met him prior to a lot of the things that were going on and the product coming out, and just got to meet him as a person, not an inventor. And, the sincerity of Len and yourself and Doug, we met at a Starbucks in Arizona. And I had never met Doug and I'd never met Len, and, I had met Peter. And when I got to meet Len and see his heartfelt passion about, becoming an inventor and being a part of a community that was going to support him, it made me feel a part of him as a person. And then when his product came out, it was really easy to transition into supporting Zip and Store because I was actually supporting Len Kenzie. And by supporting another human being in their passion, it does change you. It does make you feel a part of it. It makes you feel worthy. That continued on as we met Cliff Henthorne and many of the other inventors. You became a part of their story, and that does change your life. You're not just in it by yourself. You're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for them, for the vision that they have for everyone that's involved.
So really, the impact is you're helping people pursue their dreams, right? Helping them, drive their passion of wanting to not just be an inventor, but bring their product to the marketplace.
Absolutely. Len was very passionate, and I understand Len had many products on his mind before he came out with Zip and Store. So again, it wasn't so much the product as it was being a part of his dreams and his goals to bring things forth that could help the whole community.
Awesome. Well, Donavon and Crystal, tell us your kind of the impact it's had on you.
Yeah, the entrepreneurship I guess for me, it has become a little bit different. I find value in a lot of different things. Steve talked a little bit about in service of others and helping others' dreams come true. But one of the things I really enjoy about being a part of an invention or something that's new coming out, some of these inventors, we have, since becoming an inventor, kind of seen from the beginnings of an entrepreneur to some of the well-crafted entrepreneurs that are out there, but they are and becoming our friends also. And so it's fun to, I remember years ago seeing a new item on some kind of sale on a shopping network or something. And I would thought to myself, how do people know about this new item? Where are they? That's a cool item. How do I find out about something like that? Well, now we kind of are unique in that we know so many inventors now. We get to be a part
I hate to break up this thought, buddy, but we are coming up on the end of this segment. We're going to be right back. Donavon's going to finish that story on the other side of the break.
You're tuned in to Better Living Radio, streaming worldwide across the internet, and you're listening to entrepreneur and thought processor Peter Gantner on The Next Big Idea. Stay tuned. Peter will be right back. It's a touchy subject, but are you concerned about the rise in teen suicide rates? The numbers are getting higher every day. We know suicide is a lonely experience that occurs when someone feels disconnected from the rest of the world. With the loss of our in-person interactions, it's happening more and more, but that's not the real problem. The real problem is that until now, there's been no way to quickly turn around that negative thinking. Now, there's a simple tool called the Why Not Workbook. Created by the founder of the Teen Suicide Prevention Society, the Why Not Workbook is designed to quickly break the patterns of negative thought, shifting you into a place where you reconnect with your personal reasons for living. So, if you've ever felt helpless, like there was nothing you could do, you'll want to grab one of the free copies of the Why Not Workbook and share it with your friends. Get your copy today at whynotworkbook.com. Better Living Radio is on the air, and yes, it's everywhere around the world. Are you wondering, hey, what's the big idea? Oh, funny you should ask. Our show is called The Next Big Idea with Peter Gantner. In fact, we're back with more on Better Living Radio.
Guys, we're going to jump right back into it with Mr. Donavon Lee. That's okay, Donavon. Go ahead, buddy. He's so excited to tell this story right here, guys. He's jumping right in. Go ahead, Donavon.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Now that we are friends of inventors, we get to be, and a part of kulaBrands, we get to be a part of kind of those new inventions coming out, and we get to see kind of how they go from birth, or sometimes even from an idea to a product that's actually making a difference in the world. And that's, I think, the exciting thing about entrepreneurship for us is not just the monetary value, but the value of meeting great minds and like minds, but more also being able to follow some of these new gadgets and new things that are really, later on, we will find completely change the world in which we live. It's absolutely a beautiful model.
So Donavon, Crystal, so Tony D. Hall exposed you to the opportunity of kulaBrands, and you came home and told Crystal you were going to go to an event, and you said it was called a Kula Party. Crystal, tell us a little bit about that story, and then what you came to this event thinking it was maybe a party, but then how did that get you involved with that, and how's been your journey with supporting entrepreneurs so far?
Well, actually, the irony there is that he actually called it a Kula convention, and so I said, sure, let me take a look at that, and I'll make the reservations for you. I'm working in an outage at a nuclear power plant. I can't get away right now, so I'll make the reservation. When I looked at it, it called itself a Kula party, and I looked at where the event was going to be, and I said, there's no way you're going here without me. So I booked us a couple of flights, and I joined in that moment. I became a kulaBrands member, but it wasn't really until I arrived in Arizona at the first KP1 and I met the community, and it was like a family reunion. Everybody was just so supportive, and anything and everything that it's more of an emotion, and it's really difficult to put into words, the camaraderie that you have there, the support system that you have there. And it wasn't really until I got to the Kula convention that I became a true member of kulaBrands, and that was through the people.
That is one of my favorite stories, Crystal. I love hearing how you actually, and you didn't just say, wait a second, I'm going with you. You said, I'm going with you and I'm going as a member. I'm just gonna make this happen. I love that story.
Oh, thanks, Deb.
So now you don't only support entrepreneurs, Crystal, you live with one of the entrepreneurs, right? So, and can you give us a little bit of that feedback of being the spouse of one of the entrepreneurs here in kulaBrands?
Yeah, I mean, when we joined kulaBrands, we never expected to actually be an entrepreneur. We learned the business from the ground up. We watched other things that were going on, all the different products, all the different ideas and inventions that people had. And no time did we really conceive the idea that Donavon would be an entrepreneur. But that very first convention, Donavon was just singing for entertainment for people, and everybody said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had Kula music? And so the light bulb kind of went off, and we said, hey, let's, and then he got together with another member and they wrote a song, and, there's another story behind that. It's probably too long for this segment, but being married to an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, you see the blood, sweat, and tears, and even though it's not truly your own personal project, you have so much vested in it. And it's so rewarding to watch your spouse's dreams come true.
And the great part about it is being a supporter of entrepreneurs, you don't have to marry Donavon to support him, right? So there's only Crystal that's going to do that, right? Everyone else can just support him through this mechanism that we built, kulaBrands.
That's right. Yeah, it's such an awesome role model. I mean, there's 3 different levels that you can get in. There's different ways that you can support. If you're not strong in one suit, then another person is, then you still benefit from it. And you may be strong in another area that others aren't. And it's what we call a community, and we all support each other. So in the big picture, we support the entrepreneur, which in turn, we get the reverse royalties. So it's really a beautiful role model.
Well, and Crystal, thank you. You just led into this part of the segment. So let's jump into Steve. Why don't you tell us some of the ways that you're supporting entrepreneurs? Give us some details on, I know you're doing shows, I know you're putting products in stores, but give us some of the details on that stuff, or what you're doing.
Well, the original thought was if you find a product that resonates with you, you get to support it. But it's a funny thing that there's some part of every product that resonates with me, whether it be the inventor, whether it be the product itself, whether it be the cause behind the product, such as NetFX Traders, which supported the village in Cambodia, Gun Bale, which, is going to save lives. There's some connection to every single idea that's come to kulaBrands that I did resonate with. So when you mentioned that I do shows and that I try to bring things into retail businesses, I look at each inventor, product, idea, cause, and then I see what relates to me most, and then I find a way to make that happen.
That's awesome. So, Mr. Love, you are like the social media phenomena, right? Give us a little bit of that, how you're helping the entrepreneurs on social media.
Well, it's pretty amazing, and I want to go back to KP1, and I didn't know it was going to be a party, but you showed so many things on the screen, like Kula Music, Kula Freight, which hasn't become about yet, but other entrepreneurs that have come about, movies, Donavon Lee, oh my God, music. And something that resonates with me, like Joy and Jason of Buddha Gear. When I saw their first campaign, I was like, I'm behind them 100%. I'm going to push this idea. I'm going to push their Buddha Gear. And I do that on Instagram, Facebook. When I'm passionate about something, you guys have made me passionate about making dreams come true. Naya Marquez, right behind me. This young girl is freaking amazing. A little 16-year-old when I met her, just turned 18, has the voice of an angel, and I will back her until I pass away.
And by the way, guys, she is not standing behind Michael. He has a poster of her on his wall. So we just want to, because we're on radio, right? So everybody can't see her.
Right.
On that side.
But that'll forever be there. And she and her mom and dad at KP2 named me Papa Love. So I'm her adopted grandpa or Papa. So, and I set it down, and I will always be there for that young lady.
That's awesome. So, guys, I think there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now going, God, I don't know if I really want to take the risk. I don't want to work 18, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't want to risk my money. But here we're presenting to them a whole new way to be part of that entrepreneurial experience. So, I know I've seen it where I've been in news articles, walking into Target and seeing one of my products up there. Can you guys share the experience of when there's PR press? And we've done this with Donavon, right? We've heard interviews of him on the radio. It's like, oh my God, Donavon's on the radio getting interviewed right now. So that whole part of it, can you guys share with how does that feel? Even though you're not the one that is doing it in the situation with Donavon being interviewed, but hearing and seeing the publicity, the press, having an entrepreneur come on and show a PO for going into Bye Bye Baby or onto the truck stop, into the truck stop.
Can I tell you?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Can I tell you a little story? My daughter met Donavon and Crystal here. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. And they performed for my family in my yard. But before then, my daughter heard them on a radio show that I sent to her. And when they came here to play in Paducah, she bought their video or bought their CD, bought Donavon's CD, bought a t-shirt. And then Donavon made up a song about my granddaughter and grandson. And you know how much that made my heart soar? It was like, what? If you'd have told me that 4 years ago, Peter, when I joined, I would have said, no way. I won't be backing no music artist.
I'm going to jump in right there, Michael, and let you know that I completely understand what you're talking about there, because my little Gracie has the biggest crush on Donavon and absolutely loves every single song, knows them by heart. And when we've seen Donavon in person, having her run to him and him, pick her up and give her the hug, I've never thought I'd experience anything like that. It's absolutely beautiful.
Well, I got to tell you guys, we're coming up on the end of this segment. We're going to be back. We have a couple more segments to go. Supporting entrepreneurs, guys, creates value in your life. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
So are you wondering where the next big idea will come from? Well, you'll hear about it first here at Better Living Radio. See, this is the show called The Next Big Idea. Maybe you got the next big idea, or maybe you just like to make some money from it. Peter Gantner will explain when we come back on Better Living Radio. You've heard it said right here, you can't move gigantic boulders unless you've got some kind of leverage. You know, like a crowbar positioned in just the right spot. With enough leverage, you can multiply your strength and move mountains. The idea applies to investing too. Think of it. How'd you like to own companies like Roku or MasterCard or Raytheon and put down as little as 10% to unlock the treasure chest of unlimited upside gains while drastically reducing your risk, and do it all with zero borrowing cost? You just need that leverage and a little know-how. So Dan Frischberg and the entire Money Man team are making that possible. They're handing you your very own investment crowbar in special step-by-step, click-by-click instructional videos called the Layaway Option Service. It's for beginners and pros alike. Look, if you want to make real money, you owe it to yourself to take advantage of this once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. It's your chance to see the results for yourself. The cost is next to nothing, and look what's waiting for you. Generally, you'll get 3 detailed trades each week, quality, actionable trades. You get detailed instructions on buying and selling specific put and call options. The Layaway Option Service shares specific underlying stocks, expiration dates, strike prices, and shows you how much money you could make instantly. It's Dan Frischberg's proven money-making discipline that over 50 years has made a lot of people rich. Lots of other benefits are waiting for you too, along with these special step-by-step, click-by-click instructional videos. The Layaway Option Service. Too much to detail here, but it's all right there at themoneyman.com. themoneyman.com. Welcome back to Better Living Radio and this amazing idea for a radio show. It's called The Next Big Idea. Rather ironic, wouldn't you say? Hey, if you've got an idea, you might want to talk with host Peter Gantner or one of his guests here at Better Living Radio. Look, here they come now.
We're back, guys, with our panel of supporting entrepreneurs. So we've got Donavon Lee and Crystal Carpenter. We've got Michael Love, and we've got Steve and Kanelos. We're going to jump in here, guys. So being a supporter of entrepreneurs is not all rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine, right? There are times when entrepreneurs maybe have let us down. Maybe things have happened with that. Can you guys share with the audience? Let's start with Steve. Start with the audience of maybe some of your experiences. And here's the key, guys. Not just something went wrong, but why do you keep doing it and, you know, moving past that and continuing to support and help those entrepreneurs, even though everything doesn't go perfect?
Well, Peter, I have to go back to cords of steel. And when Cliff came out with that first cord, we were all excited about this cord. It was the best charging cable on the market. And as it turned out, the manufacturer wasn't quite up to snuff, and the cord didn't do what we thought it was going to do. And its potential was still there, but it wasn't operating at that level. And I had heard in the beginning that we would, as a community, vet each product and go back to the inventor and give them feedback that would make them better. And so I felt obligated to be a part of that process and let Cliff know what I was thinking about the cord, how it was working for me, what I felt could be done better. And the community as a whole will do that for an inventor. So you become vested in helping them improve and put out the best product that they can put out, not only for them, but for the world. I mean, somebody that's out there listening to the show right now that hears about cords of steel is going to go out and buy that product because they feel like it's a great product based on a whole community of people supporting it. So we want it to be the best. We don't want them to go out and have a bad experience. So, you know, just being a part of making each product, inventor, the whole process better is what we do as a whole.
So Donavon and Crystal, the whole timing thing of this, right? You see a product, you see an entrepreneur, you say, wow, I want to support them. And now a year, 2 years later, it's still in the process. It's still moving forward. And you guys are in your own process right now, right? You do didn't make it to where you wanted to as fast as you want to, because I don't think any of us ever do, right? Can you share from your perspective of, how do you keep moving forward and continue to do your project, but also support other projects when they're taking longer than you would ever expect?
Well, I think, I can't speak for Crystal, but as a, just as a patron, in the anticipation of your new object or your new product, you get anxiety about, oh, how come it's not here? And we get so used to that right now from internet and that kind of stuff. But I think for me, sometimes there are as an inventor now, I think I have a different perspective of understanding kind of some of the hurdles that are beyond your control that just come up along the way on the entrepreneur path. For me, it's really the anticipation, but I think it's really too being a part of something that's at the very beginning. It's like the inventor's little baby, but it's also kind of our little baby too. We get excited, but there are just a lot of things as an entrepreneur now that I know that I didn't know before Kula, on just the struggles of getting a thought to an object and then to the marketplace. But what do you think, Kristen?
Well, for me personally, when I first go to support an entrepreneur or a product or an invention, I don't go into it with a time limit on it. I go into it knowing that this is from the ground up, so there's going to be many hurdles that come along. And each product that comes across for crowdfunding or any other support, I've always looked at it, and depending on where it's at in the process, you just know that there's going to be things that they have to overcome. The big picture for, I believe, the entrepreneurs is to make sure that you have that communication with the community. We have such a great system as far as our website and so forth, that we are constantly getting updates from those entrepreneurs, from those inventors, saying where they are in the process. So if they have a hurdle with a manufacturer, they'll send us an email and they'll say, okay, this is what we're struggling with right now. It's not like ordering something on another website from Facebook or something, and you're just waiting and you wanted it for a birthday party or something. This is an actual product that is in the beginning stages, and you are getting constant updates of where they are in that process. So there's many times that we don't meet a deadline, but the community is so vested with you from the ground up that they are always understanding, as long as you keep the communication line open. And I will say most of our inventors and entrepreneurs have been very good with that.
Awesome. Mr.
Well,
Love.
Real quick, let me just, to Donovan, him being an entrepreneur and me being a supporter of Donavon Lee music, I just appreciated, Donovan, when I let you know that I thought one of your songs would be better with me as a backup singer. And you took that to heart, and I appreciate that.
That'd be... I love it.
Yeah,
next album.
That is funny, Deborah. But I want to go back to what Steve Kanelos said. I met Len Kinsey at KP1, and he had such a heart. And I know he wanted a lot of things to come true, and there was a lot of struggles. I mean, he had a great product, and things happened, and everybody thought that, wow, this China deal was going to be amazing, and da-da-da-da, and they came out with another product, and then his dreams kind of got squashed. But I'm still there for Len Kinsey. He's an amazing man. I know where his heart is. There's some other, and I won't name names, that they want the community to do it all. And that's not how our community works. Joy and Jason.
Well, and I sorry to interrupt you right there, Michael. That's not the way, just not our community. That's the way the world works. You are not going to get somebody to, because everybody listening to this might not end up going through kulaBrands. If you are going to ask people to support you in your entrepreneurial journey, help you bring your product to the marketplace, you have got to be the driver. You've got to be the person that does the work. Supporters are there just to help you, right? You know, it's not like it's a Saturday and you need to move and you have, 6 friends show up at the house and you hand them your keys and everything else and say, hey, I'll be back at the end of the day. You have to help move that furniture. You have to organize it. You have to be the person who's on the lead of that. So that's not just important here. That is important everywhere. If you are going to be an entrepreneur, audience that is listening to this, if you are going to be an entrepreneur, you will work the hardest. You will work the most. You will do the most in your project. People who are supporting you will back you up, and they will essentially reflect you. If you suck, it will suck. If you are doing a great job and pushing and moving forward, that is the way you create success. So thank you for bringing that up, Michael, because it is so important to know that if you're going to go on an entrepreneurial journey, it's going to be hard. It's going to be, there's going to be disappointments, but there's also going to be rewards in that journey of entrepreneurship. Go ahead, Donavon. You had something to say, buddy?
I was adding that the rewards also, in these pandemic times, we are finding musicians, it happens to be my product is music, but we're finding musicians everywhere being forced to be entrepreneurs now in the music industry. So it's, there's so much reward that comes from a lot of that struggle, because it truly is a struggle. Trust me, it's a completely different animal than my anticipation when I first became an entrepreneur. I never anticipated becoming one, but musically today, the musical entrepreneur is the last new frontier. I mean, it's an amazing journey, but it's a struggle too.
Yeah, I mean, today it's not go to the labels, right? And we are going to do a show with you, Donavon, here very shortly. But, and I didn't come up with this term, but entrepreneur, right? It's you have to be an artist entrepreneur, not just a very talented singers, lots of them right out there, right? But it's talented singers that have that drive, that determination to bring their product to the marketplace, and that are able to build up the structure of kulaBrands, even without kulaBrands, which are super fans, right? Ultimately, kulaBrands become super fans of whether it's Zip and Store, whether it's Chords of Steel, Donavon Lee. It's building that network. We have just figured out a way to compensate super fans for the lifetime, right? With this royalty residual income and bringing that on board. And in the final segment, I do want to talk about that from being a super fan, because that's what all you guys are. Steve's a super fan. Michael's a super fan. Donavon and Crystal is super fans. Deb is super fan. That's ultimately what we become of these entrepreneurs. And that is the passion that we have, because when you're super at anything, you're very passionate about it, right? And that's what we bring to the table. That's what so you're listening to this right now. You're saying, hey, how do I become a successful entrepreneur? Find your super fans. Develop it. Make it worth their while to stay connected with you. Appreciate them. Love them. Care about them. That is how you drive a business in today's atmosphere. We're going to be back after the break with our final segment on the next Big Idea.
You're tuned in to Better Living Radio, streaming worldwide across the internet, and you're listening to entrepreneur and thought processor Peter Gantner on the next Big Idea. Stay tuned. Peter will be right back. Do you absorb information on stocks and the markets better when you can see it in black and white? You can read all about the subject matter heard on the Dent Market Digest simply by clicking on to harrydent.com. There are lots of articles detailing the stories you hear about on the show. There are videos featuring Harry, constantly updated so you get the latest info available. There's info on Harry's latest books. Plus, you can easily subscribe to Harry's e-letter. It's called Economy and Markets. And pardon the pun, but it's a wealth of information you can get every day, and surprise, it's absolutely free. Each weekday in Economy and Markets, Harry, Rodney, and the rest of the team offer commentary and analysis on their latest forecasts, demographic and stock market trends, the housing market, critical economic cycles and policies, investment strategies, and so much more. To register, just click on to harrydent.com, and remember, all of Harry's contact info is on the homepage at betterlivingradio.com.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then call Page Publishing ASAP. We're looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review each and every book submitted to us. And we'll give you our feedback. And if we like what we read, we will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. We handle everything. Editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So if you've written a novel, children's book, cookbook, inspirational work, poetry, or a biography and want to get it published, call Page Publishing now for your free author submission kit. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call.
Call now, 800-219-8262, 800-219-8262, 800-219-8262. That's 800-219-8262.
Better Living Radio is on the air, and yes, it's everywhere around the world. Are you wondering, hey, what's the big idea? Oh, funny you should ask. Our show is called The Next Big Idea with Peter Gantner. In fact, we're back with more on Better Living Radio.
All right, guys, we're back for our final segment of The Next Big Idea. We have with us three of our just phenomenal kulaBrands members. And actually, there's six of us here because I'm a member, Deb's a member, Corey's a member. We're all members of kulaBrands, as well as corporate staff and, of course, myself, the founder of kulaBrands. There's a great story here, guys. So being part of a community, being part of something that really doesn't have a lot to do with business. But, Michael, you had a really tough thing happened to you last year. Can you share that with us and what happened with the community and how being part of something, right? And guys, creating value for the entrepreneurs, creating value for the rest of the community is kind of where this all came out of. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay. I might tear up a little, guys, but about a year ago in July, I was up watching my grandson, and I seen a truck come barreling down my driveway while I'm up there playing with my grandson in the dirt. And I realized it was my neighbor, and she goes, your trailer home's on fire. Your trailer home's on. And I was like, I was just dumbfounded. I was like, what? No, can't be. And so put my grandson in the truck and drove down here, and I didn't even think about material possessions. I opened the door, calling for my cat and calling for my cat and calling for my cat, and almost crawled in there, but the smoke was so thick and flames coming out of the back window, and the trailer home burned down right in front of me. And I contacted Corey and told him the story. And I think it was within an hour or an hour and a half, Corey had a GoFundMe page up. And I believe that evening there was...
It's all right, Michael. We got you.
You're good, buddy.
The community came together just within... By that evening, I think it was up to $5,400. And then by the next day, it was up to $6,800 and then $7,200 and then $8,400. And now I have a brand new home because I belong to a community that cares, not just about entrepreneurship, but about changing lives, being there for one another. accepting whether you have political right, political left, whatever your religion is, it doesn't matter. And yeah, and I will be forever grateful. And I have all those names written down, those that supported me.
We're a family, right, Michael? It's a one big family.
Oh my God. And I won't go into that because there were a lot of my immediate family that didn't do anything. But
well, and here's what we talk about with Michael, right?
I have Kula meaning family, community. And that's what I'll be forever grateful for. I will pass that down to my children, my grandchildren, and hopefully I will, the Lord will let me live long enough to pass it on to my great-grandchildren.
That's awesome. And I got to tell you, it's because of the value, guys. This is what we talk about all the time on the show, creating value in the lives of other people. Michael spent 3 years pouring value into other people. And when he needed the help and when something went wrong, boom, they were there in an instant, right away, to help and be a part of that. And that's why every day you want to wake up and you want to say, today I'm going to create value in the lives of someone else. Go ahead, Donavon. You had something, bud?
It's just, for me, this community, it just goes to show you what we can do when we all come together. It's as a member of a community of supporters of entrepreneurship, I truly can see how we can just change the world around you. It's we've all, especially today, everybody's got a great idea, but do you really want to do something with that idea? This is the home for you.
Well, and let me ask you guys this. You've now watched other entrepreneurs, and of course, Donavon, you jumped in, but for Steve and Michael, does it make you want to say, you know what, I'm going to stay a supporter? Or does it make you say, you know what, I'd like to jump in on that entrepreneur side of it, right? Seeing that behind the scenes. Because one of the interesting things for the audience that's listening is in kulaBrands, you get to see, and maybe you guys can share some of these experiences. We've talked about this on other shows, molds, half the size of a Volkswagen, right? Things that we did not know until we became part of kulaBrands or part of it being a supporter of entrepreneurs and actually got to see behind the scenes. And maybe you guys can share something you didn't know about until you became this supporter and you're like, holy mackerel, I didn't know it was that tough or that hard or that this type of situation takes place. Go ahead, Donavon, you got something on that, buddy?
Yeah, for sure. For me, music is my product. So, I've always been kind of a show off, or I've always been an artist, if you will. But an artist is different than an entrepreneur. And I guess the biggest awakening for me becoming a member was I was excited about new products, new ideas, being able to help living in service of others, helping someone's dream come true. And all of a sudden, because of the model of kulaBrands, the opportunity happened for me. I had no idea how hard it was, number one. Number two, if it was not for the model of kulaBrands and the community itself, there's no way I could have put together the project that I was able to put together by myself. I simply could not have had time to learn to do everything that everybody has helped me with to be able to do it on my own. So for me, being an entrepreneur is a rude awakening. I don't want to, it is a lot more work. I used to work 12 hours a day in power plants and that kind of thing. So I was used to 12-hour shifts. That was easy. Entrepreneurship is a 24-hour shift. So, and you get, a couple hours to breathe every now and then. So it is a little bit different animal, but just so rewarding, not just for myself, but again, being able to touch so many other people and watch their dreams come true also.
Now, Donavon, we have you coming up on another show. And so part of what we talk about is collaboration, right? And can you really quickly, how Kula Music came about and all that stuff, we're going to get into in the show that we're going to do just with you. But somebody wrote a poem. Can you really quickly, and Deb's going to play a little clip of that, and maybe we'll talk about more of it on the episode with just, the show with just your interview. But can you touch on that real quick?
Sure. You want to come back for that show, because the story of how we were sitting in this community, we have morning sessions and afternoon sessions where we can all turn and talk and learn from each other. Well, we had us a little ditty, if you will, for Coffee with Deb in our class. And Carolyn Smith, one of the other members, I kept talking about songwriting and the off times and things like that. She sent me a poem. We put her poem and the little ditty we had, the hook of Coffee with Deb, and it really became the story behind kulaBrands and where it was, what it's been doing, and truly, I believe, where it's going. And the community that built the company, the community that built the lifestyle of kulaBrands, are all in the song. I can't wait.
And here's our Kula anthem right here.
Dream, believe, soar and fly. Together we can raise the tide. Dream, believe, soar and fly. kulaBrands, change your life.
Well, that's awesome, and we are definitely going to hear more about that on the show coming up with Donavon Lee. Steve, you hold a unique position with kulaBrands, and that is as the board member for the community. Can you give us a little bit of that experience in about 20 seconds?
Yes, Peter, it was an honor to be voted as the elected board member by the community, and it was an honor to serve a second term as well. The unique position is I get to be the go-between between the community members and corporate, and it's a privilege for me because corporate allows the community to speak and then allows me to bring those ideas to you to make us better as a community.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Steve, we thank you for holding that position and for the amount of effort and time that you put into it. Guys, this is our show today. We are absolutely crushed that we don't have more time. We will see you on the next show for the next big idea.
Did you ever imagine that these little inventions like radio and the internet, that there was a time when they were considered the next big idea? And yet here you are today having just heard a program called The Next Big Idea. Peter Gantner is your host. He's one of the founders of kulaBrands, and they can help you whether you've got an idea of your own or you just want to get in on the ground floor of the next big thing. Peter and his co-hosts and guests are here weekdays on Better Living Radio to discuss the ins and outs of creating, manufacturing, branding, and marketing the best of the big ideas. Maybe you've got one, or maybe you want to be involved in one. You're definitely tuned into the right spot. So hear this. You can hear this program weekdays at the same time on Better Living Radio as kulaBrands presents Peter Gantner and the Next Big Idea.